Hello and welcome, beautiful souls. It's Sapphire. I hope you're doing amazing. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time it happens to be. And thank you so much for tuning in. It's always such a pleasure and joy to be with y'all, even if it's just digitally, not face to face. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Um, Before I get into it, I would just like to wish you all a very happy Beltane season. If you don't know, Beltane is the cross-quarter festival of the bright fire or the goodly fire that falls between the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere or Ostara and the summer solstice or Litha. Beltane is a festival celebrated on May 1st that holds the spiritual and cultural significance of being a celebration of fertility, marking the peak of spring and the transition to summer, marking the beginning of the pastoral season, and the connection between the spiritual and physical realms. It marks a liminal time, a transition between seasons and worlds, and is often associated with fire, purification, fertility, and the energies of the Fae. It's a celebration of abundance, renewal, and the waxing power of the sun, often involving bonfires, rituals to call in abundance, good fortune, and a good harvest, fertility rituals, and the welcoming of the summer months. I'd also like to mention that we are in the wake of the 5/5 portal, which is a perfect time to invoke and work with the energy of and the power of change and transformation to radically upgrade and improve your life, which will allow you to more easily welcome the flow of abundance, love, and joy into your life. So I felt called to share with you all today about what magic with a K, personally means to me. I'll keep it relatively short, sweet, and to the point. Basically, a broad overview of the significance of and my relationship with magic. I may definitely dive deeper into the topic of magic and even share rituals with you in the future. And I'd be happy to privately answer any specific questions that you may have as well. That's not really the goal of this video, but I definitely look forward to that in the future. Before I get into it, please take a moment to like the video if you enjoyed this, comment down below, subscribe, and turn on the bell if you resonated with this content and you would like to see more like it, and even donate if you feel called. Thank you so much. Namaste. In my personal interpretation, magic is the art of manipulating and interacting with various spiritual, metaphysical, and psychic energies to certain ends or with certain goals and intentions in mind. It can be something very subtle yet profoundly meaningful, it usually is. Or it can be a powerful force if one has the knowledge, experience, and confidence in one's abilities and in the power of one's deities, spirit guides, ancestors, angels, and it may even be down to innate ability or a very keen intuition or psychic gifts for some people. But I should add that powerful rather than subtle type of magic is usually quite draining. So that's why in general it isn't done much, even by the more advanced and experienced witches, warlocks, wizards, etc. And when I say manipulating, I don't necessarily mean bending energies to malicious or exploitative ends, right? Certainly magic can be used like that, and others may choose to use their gifts and their knowledge in this way. But in this context, I am not using the word manipulating to mean manipulating or using other beings. I'm instead using the word to mean broadly changing, shifting, and bending energies to certain ends. This broad definition can include other spiritual activities outside of what is traditionally considered to be magic, such as Reiki, prayer, energy work, channeling, mediumship, divination, and even affirmations, subliminals, and meditations sometimes and to some extent. And this broad definition is intentional. I believe there is some magic involved in each and all of the other spiritual practices I just listed that fall outside of the traditional definition of magic. They all involve manipulating and interacting with very spiritual, metaphysical, and psychic energies to certain ends, or with certain goals and intentions in mind. Now, some secular or skeptical types may certainly deny the power and the reality of magic, and that's okay. That's their belief, or I guess their lack of belief, and that's their prerogative. They may say that it's all in your head, it's all in their head slash heads. And to some extent, I think they're actually right. That's actually true. Magic, in my opinion, has a huge mental or psychological component, and the manipulation of energies is often or usually quite subtle, and its effects are similarly subtle or even imperceptible at times. True magic is not how it's portrayed in works of fiction and movies and television programs like Harry Potter, Hocus Pocus, Bewitched, or Charmed. Magic, just like navigating and altering physical reality, is often a big head game, right? A huge component of it is simply belief. Belief and confidence in oneself and one's abilities and in one's knowledge and experience, and the presence and power of one's deities, spirit guides, ancestors, angels, or other guiding forces, and belief in the ability to create the intended effects out in the real world or in the subtle energy body of oneself and others. And as I've stated before, the effects of rituals or spells are usually very subtle or even imperceptible shifts in metaphysical energy or one's psyche, especially if the object of one's work is personal change or transformation or calling in luck or abundance, for example. You may experience a small boost of confidence, motivation, or internal energy or drive after performing this work. But who is to say that it's not, in fact, all in your head? But especially in the example of personal magic work, does it even really matter whether or not it's all in your head? If you feel the after effects and you then put that subtle shift in energy to good use, that's all that really matters. Similarly, if others feel the effects of your work, that's all that matters, even if other parties may be skeptical. So I do consider myself to be a witch, and I have even worked with magic from time to time in the past, but I am what you could call a baby or a newbie witch. Not because I'm young, but because I am rather inexperienced and lack the extensive knowledge other witches and practitioners may have. But I am learning as I go and when I can. As I've stated before in previous videos, my spiritual practice spans multiple traditions. So too does my magic. Although, again, I'm relatively inexperienced. I'm just beginning and learning. I have felt called to both the Hindu and the Celtic deities and traditions, and to a lesser extent, the Greeks as well. And I have prayed to many of these gods, and I have sometimes worked with them when performing rites or magic. Aside from different magical practices informed by or derived from various spiritual or cultural traditions, there are generally three broad categories of magic, and consequently three broad categories of witches, or whatever they may call themselves based on their particular tradition. They have frequently been called light or white magic, dark or black magic, and gray magic. in the past. But those terms are gradually falling more and more out of favor, being frowned upon, and rightfully so due to their connotations and associations with racism. The more accepted terms these days are light or benevolent magic, baneful magic, and gray magic, as in gray area. There are also what is known as green witches, who are very in tune with the earth, nature, and their environment, and work with the magic of Mother Nature in a respectful and sustainable way. But this term and this type of magic is broadly applicable to many witches, wizards, warlocks, etc. And it is a sentiment that spans many spiritual and cultural traditions, especially that of the ancient and indigenous variety. On the whole, I largely consider myself to be a light or good witch, and to some extent also a green witch, to the best of my ability, for the record. I try to stay away from anything that seeks to harm others or mess with others' free will. After all, the one central moral code or tenet for, I believe, most practicing Wiccans and pagans is "and it harm none," which is basically a simplification of the widely known golden rule. Treat others as you would wish to be treated. But it can also be interpreted as anything goes so long as it doesn't hurt any conscious or sentient beings. However, I will just say this, if someone chooses to cross me, come at me and intentionally harm me or my loved ones in any, in some kind of traumatic, really traumatic or unforgivable way, I'm not afraid of using gray magic, or even baneful magic. Not in a way to exact some kind of cruel or unusual punishment or revenge, but in such a way that's akin to putting your hand on a hot stove or slamming a door in someone's face. If you have ill intentions, back the off. Now, I'd just like to close on a light note with a quote that may seem disconnected to magic, but in reality has a connection to the realm of magic and witchcraft when you dig deeper. Attachment is the root of all suffering. Who said that? The Buddha. As I've already stated, I believe good magic is about exercising one's own intention and power, yes, but it is in greater part more about letting go and letting the universe respond to your intention and work its magic in due divine timing. Don't force it. Be one with it. Oneness and letting go is the way. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful and amazing day or an amazing evening. Again, thank you so much for hearing me out about what magic means to me personally. And many blessings. Blessed be. Namaste. Love y'all.